Okay, so today we're going to do 6.3 solve linear systems by graphing. And so our objective is I can solve linear systems using a graph. So today's the first day we're actually going to start solving systems. Okay, so a big thing to remember is the solution to a linear system that has been graphed is the ordered pair where the two lines intersect. Okay, so it's the ordered pair where the two lines intersect, and you'll see that when we do these two. There's only two examples and two you tries, okay? So we need to graph these two lines, okay? And so in order to graph them, remember they need to be in y equals mx plus b. So put in y equals mx plus b form. That's the biggest thing you have to do, and then you just graph it like we normally would. So if you do not know how to graph, then this is going to be hard for you, which is why we did that extra practice, and one of the reasons why we did that extra practice in algebra, in that algebra section, because you have to know how to graph. If you don't know how to graph, you can't do this, okay? So remember, I need to get y by itself. So first thing I'm going to have to do here, I'm going to have to get rid of the x, and I'm going to have to get rid of the 2. But I got to get rid of the x first, okay? So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And then we have 2y equals negative x plus 7. Remember, I always put the x first because it comes first in the form. Okay? And then to solve for y, the 2 is keeping the y from being by itself. So the 2 and the y are being multiplied. So to undo that, I have to divide. So I'm dividing by 2. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Okay, so I divided by 2 on everything. So then that goes away, and I have y equals. Okay, now this is... Remember that magic number that I don't have to write in front of a variable is 1. So this is like negative 1/2 x plus 7 over 2. Okay. So that is my equation for that one. And this is, remember, this is 3.5. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and graph this one. So there's my y-intercept. So that's where I'm going to start. And then this is my slope. So I'm going to go down 1, right 2. And I'm going down because it's negative. Okay, that's why I'm going down. Okay. So over here, I'm going to start at 3.5. So in between 3 and 4. And then I'm going up or down 1, right 2. Okay, so down 1 wouldn't be here. It would go to the next half and right 2. Down 1, right 2. Let me get a ruler. Hold on just a second. So it is very, very important that you get these lines super straight, because if you don't, you won't see where they intersect. Okay, it won't look right. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line through here. Okay, it's not perfect, but that's okay. Okay. Straight lines, though. Okay. Okay. So then this one I need to solve for and to put into y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to subtract the 3x from both sides. Okay. So then I have negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 5. And again, I put that x term first. Okay. So then I'm going to divide by negative 2 on everything. Okay, because I need to get the y by itself. So that cancels out. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so this just becomes 3 over 2x. And then this is 5 divided by negative 2, which simplifies to a negative, because I have a positive divided by a negative. So that becomes a negative. And then I have my 5 over 2, which this is 2.5, and it's really negative 2.5. So that's my y-intercept. Okay. And then this is my slope. So I'm going to go up 3, right 2. Okay, so I'm going to start at negative 2.5, which is between negative 2 and negative 3. Okay, and I'm going up 3, right 2. So up 1, 2, 3, right 2. Up 1, 2, 3, right 2. Okay, so now when I draw this line, hopefully it crosses, it looks like it's going to cross at a nice, pretty point, which is perfect. Okay, So right here, let me get a different colored pen. Okay, right here is where my two lines cross, okay, which is the x value is 3 and the y value is 2, so the point is 3, 2. Okay, so now it says check your solution algebraically, which means it wants us to plug this into both equations and make sure that I get a true statement. Okay, so this is my x, this is my y. I have x plus 2y equals 7, and I have 3x minus 2y equals 5. Okay, and so I'm going to plug 3 in for x and 2 in for y. So 3 plus 2 times 2 equals 7. So 2 times 2 is 4. Is 3 plus 4 7? Yeah, so that one worked. Okay, and then if I do 3 times 3, because again I plugged in 3 for x, okay, minus 2 times 2, I should get 5. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. Is 9 minus 4 5? Yep, so that means that my solution is correct. Okay? Okay, I just noticed that this doesn't have the systems on it. I'm going to take my paper and I'll be right back and I'm going to get it. Give me just a minute. Okay, so here's the correct system that you need to graph. Okay, so go ahead and get that copied down. Pause me if you need to. I'm going to go ahead and flip and keep going. Okay, example number 2. So we're going to just solve the system by graphing. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides because remember I'm trying to get it into y equals mx plus b. Okay, so I'm subtracting by 2x on both sides. So I get y equals negative 2x plus 9 for my first one. Okay, so it doesn't look like this was the best graph for this one. Okay, but so I'm going to actually make a table of values for this. Okay, so I know that if I plug in 0, I'm going to get 9. So I need to go more this way because I know this is going to be a negative like this because my slope is negative. So I know the line is going to be descending. Okay, which means I know it's going to come from up here and it's going to go down. Okay, so I'm going to pick some different points and see if I can get something that I can graph. So I'm going to pick those points and we're going to see where we start to get something we can graph. Okay, so if I plug in 1 here, negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 9 is 7, so that still won't work. Okay. Negative 2 times 2, so again, I'm just plugging these values in for x. Okay, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 9 is 5. Okay, let's do it for 3, plugging in 3 here. Okay, negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 9 is 3. I'm starting to notice that my y values are decreasing by 2. Well, look at that. Look, my slope and my y value that I'm decreasing by is the same. Okay, so I'm just going to go, okay, well, if I'm changed by 1 here, I'm going to decrease by 2, so that's going to be 1. And then 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So those are some points I can use. So I'm just going to use 2, 5. I'm going to use 3, 3. And 4, 1. I could keep going. I could use 5, negative 1 if I wanted to, but remember I only need 3, so I'm just going to use those. So 2, 5, 3, 3, and 4, 1. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line. Okay, so that you do this if your y-intercept won't fit on your graph. Okay, so that's why I did that, because my y-intercept didn't fit on my graph. Okay, so hopefully this one does. Okay, so subtract 2x from both sides. So I'm going to get 3y equals negative 2x plus 15. And then I have to get the y by itself, so I'm going to have to divide by 3. Okay, and then that goes away. Y equals negative 2/3 x. That can't be simplified, but 15 divided by 3 can. That's 5. Okay, so luckily my slope does fit this time. Okay, it's right here. Okay, and then my slope is negative again, so I'm going down to right 3. Okay, so down to right 3. Well, there's the point where it intersects. Down to right 3. Okay, so here's my other line. Okay, draw it nice and pretty. Okay, so you can see this actually intersects at one of our points. Okay, right there. Okay, so my answer is 3, 3. Okay, and so I'm actually going to check it, even though it doesn't say to. It's always a good habit to check. Okay, so I have 2x plus y equals 9, and 2x plus 3y equals 15. Okay, so I'm going to plug 3 in for both x and y. So 2 times 3 plus 3 is supposed to give me 9. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. Okay, so that one checks out. And then if I do 2 times 3 plus 3 times 3, I'm supposed to get 15. Okay, and then 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. So then 6 plus 9 is 15. Okay, which that is true. Okay, so that is the correct answer. Okay, go ahead and do the you try number 2.